Welcome to the Becks, a podcast that explores multimedia horror with hosts Becky and Sydney. Join us as we talk about movies, books, video games, music, and much, much more.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks. Today, we're talking about Oddity, a 2024 film.
Yes. I don't even know. I think I looked up new horror releases in 2024 and saw it, and I rented it. I was like, Sydney!
What was it streaming on again?
I think I rented it on Fandango, actually. It wasn't free. I bought it. I think I might own it, actually.
Well, it's okay because it's got a really good rating on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. Right now it's sitting at 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is huge.
6.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I was pretty excited about it.
So the premise of this movie is there's twins, and the one twin sister gets brutally murdered, and the other twin, named Darcy, is a medium, a psychic medium, and she owns a little oddity shop.
And she is blind.
And she has some kind of medium-like abilities. And she starts to suspect that there's more than meets the eye when it came to her sister's murder. Because it was immediately pinned on a certain individual, but she realizes through touching his prosthetic eye that it wasn't him at all.
Yeah. So her sister is out in the middle of nowhere in this big, huge... It's so cool the way the house is set up. It has
like a castle.
Yeah, it has like a courtyard, and that's where her car's sitting, and she's out there for the night because they are... Renovating, and she's out there by herself. And decided that she's going to spend the night in a tent in part of the house, like right inside the front door.
Yeah, her husband works nights at a local psychiatric hospital. He's the attending physician there.
Yeah. So she was going to spend the night out in the country, not in the city. And the house only gets cell service in one certain spot. So she had called him before she decided to go to bed. And then she called her sister and talked to her a little bit. And then she went downstairs.
Well, she got her sister's voicemail.
Oh, that's right. She left a message.
Yep.
That's right. She did. Yes, telling her that they are connected because she found the one spot. It was really weird because when she was doing stuff, there's the spot that she was at, there's a trap door in the floor.
Yeah.
So, again, I told Sydney I didn't understand that, but...
She has, since they renovated it, it was probably like a laundry chute or something like that.
Could have been maybe like a stairway too, like a metal stairs down or a ladder or something up to that area of the house. Because it's an old home.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't get rid of it. But at the same time, why wouldn't you keep it? I mean, maybe it just would have been a more pain in the ass to fix it than it would have just to leave it. Because it did have a hatch that closed and locked. And she actually has like a motion-activated camera that she's using in the downstairs because she thinks that the place is haunted.
Yeah, so she's trying to catch something on the camera.
So she mentions in the voicemail message that she set up the camera like Darcy told her to. And
motion-activated, anytime something is there, it will go off.
So she's not there very long when there's a knock on the door. And it's a very secluded area, and people don't know that they live there. It's out of the way.
Yeah, they don't have neighbors. There's no one around. It's this huge home. There's a huge, like I said, this yard that's surrounded by the house. So it's like a courtyard in the middle of their house.
Yeah.
So it is like a castle. And nobody knows they're there.
But someone knocks on the door.
Yeah.
And
and it's nighttime. It's dark.
She's immediately freaked the fuck out.
Well, she had gone out to her car to get something out of the car and had left her door wide open.
That's right.
And came back in and shut and locked the door. And that's when the knock on the door arrived, which is even more creepy because you were just out there with your door wide open.
Yeah, and she didn't see anybody. And then
No.
as soon as she closes the door behind her, basically someone's behind it, the door knocking. And she locked it when she came back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I find kind of funny because just considering that when she left to go to her car, she left the door open. And then she just makes sure to lock the door when she comes back in. It's like, why are you suddenly concerned for your safety? She felt justified in locking the door immediately, though, because there was a strange man, and he was acting sketchy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he immediately was like, hey, let me in.
Yeah, or you need
to let me in.
You need to come
or
out.
You need to leave.
Yeah, you need to leave. Like, you need to get out of there.
Either let him in or come out, but someone came in that house after you. I saw you at your car, which, again, red flags. Okay, this guy's just watching me get in my car. He said, I saw you get in your car and someone snuck in the door when you were out at your car. And you need to leave.
There's someone inside with you.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts asking him, like, really probing questions, like, who the fuck are you? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
He says that What?
Well, she says, my husband will be home any minute.
And that's when he says, Dr. whatever their last name is.
Yes.
I forget.
Timmis.
Dr. Timmis. Yeah, because I was making fun of him.
You were making fun of it.
Because it sounded like Tumnus.
Dr. Timmis works nights.
So then she's like, oh, you're a patient of his.
Yeah, which again, red flag.
Psychiatric hospital.
We have a psychiatric patient. We have him watching me out at my car or watching her out at her car. But, like if that were you, okay, so this is my husband's patient.
Yeah.
Watching me at my car. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Here I am.
Yeah. And this man's name is Olin Bull, which you learn a little bit later. But he says, yeah, I was a patient of his. That's how I know that he worked nights. But I got out. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but before I left, I heard the voices in the wall tell me that they were going to kill you.
Yes. And he's like, you're in danger. He's panicked. You can see it. And his prosthetic eye is really creepy and weird. Yeah. It's like just tattooed on it. It's really creepy.
It's like a target or something. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. But he's staring at her, and you can see in his real eye that he's panic-stricken. He's like, you need to get out. Just let me in. Just let me in. She's like, what will you do if you come in? And he said, I'll look around. I'll find him.
Yeah. And one thing that almost convinces her is that she's like, well, I'm not going to let you in. Like, I just need to call the police. And he's like, good, call the police.
Yes.
That's a great idea. Please do.
But stay right here, he said. Don't move. Stay right here by the door where I can see you.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just a peephole. It was like, what is that called?
It's like a slide.
Yeah, it's like a slide. There's a name for it.
It's like a slat, like they have in prisons.
Yeah. So it's like this little window she's looking out, and he's like, but stay right here. He didn't want her to go anywhere away from him.
Yeah, he was very scared for her. And at this point, as the audience, you're like, oh, maybe someone
did go in the house.
Yeah, because at first you're like, okay, he's trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Because we know we know she's going to get murdered. Like,
yeah.
But that's when you start to kind of second guess it.
Yeah, because he is like animate. Call the police. Call him right now.
And that's when she's like, I went to look for my phone in my car, but it wasn't there. I don't have my phone.
Yeah.
And he's like...
So she said, do you have a phone? And he said, no. Well, of course he didn't. He just got out of a mental hospital.
But then he's like, I will go and get help.
But please stay right here. Again, he's like, or he said, come outside with me. Get in your car. Drive away. Anything. He was just trying to get her to leave.
Yeah, he was just trying to get her out of the building. Because he knew that someone was in there with her. And he had heard, again, that they were going to kill her. Now, through the lens of... the fact that he was a psychiatric patient.
And the voices in the wall.
He said the voices in the wall.
Yeah. So, red flags. So, he did say he was going to go get the police. He was going to go get help.
So, he did leave, and she, at first, is relieved that he left. But then she starts to get kind of freaked out, and she calls out for him, and he's gone. He hauled ass.
She heard a noise in the house. And so then she's like, hey, wait, come back. Are you there? Oh, no.
And she remembers the motion activated camera, and she's like, well, if somebody came in while I was gone, because it's right by the entrance. That's where she's camping, is like where she thinks the ghost is. And so she's like, well, if I just rewind the pictures, I'll be able to see if somebody actually came in.
But she rewinds the pictures inside the tent. She gets in the tent. It's a little like 2-person tent. She gets in this tent and zips herself in. Now, I'm sorry, but that is not the safest place to put yourself.
No, she cut off all of her spatial awareness.
Yeah.
Like, it was a really bizarre choice.
Yes, because there was no way for her to see anything coming at her. If I was going to do that, I probably would have stood against the door, or I'd have probably been outside.
I think I would
have been outside.
Even if she didn't have her car keys, she could have gotten in her car and locked the doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a weird choice.
It was.
And it ultimately is what killed her.
Yes.
Because she sees on the pictures that a masked person did indeed come in. And she starts to hear footsteps coming towards her. And when she unzips the tent, someone comes down the stairs, this masked person, and then bludgeons her inside the tent.
Sticks its head in the tent. It's terrifying. I think that was my jump scare in that movie.
Yeah.
And then
he bludgeons her with a hammer.
Yeah. With the hammer that she had earlier grabbed because she was afraid.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was horrible. It was vicious and violent and just cruel.
Yeah. Like, you could, there was just a scene where they showed just the tent that was just, it was totally splattered in blood. Which was kind of interesting visually. Like, I thought it was cool the way they did that, because it wasn't like a gore fest in a particular room. Like, the rest of the house remained clean. It was just the inside of the tent where the violence happened, and it was visually striking.
Oh yeah.
So some time passes, and you find out that Olin Boole, the mental patient who had tried to save her, you think? He's the one who actually got blamed for the murder.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting killed.
Yeah. It shows someone, well, it doesn't even show someone coming to his room. He was scared. He knew something was going to happen to him.
Yeah.
He could feel it.
So
he was slaughtered, bludgeoned.
Yep. A la what he did to...
Yeah, there wasn't much left of him.
What he did to Danny.
And so the other patient picked up his eyeball.
Yeah.
And so then you cut to a scene where the doctor is going into his... Well, you don't know it at the time, but he walks into his sister-in-law's shop, her Oddity shop.
Yep, Cabinet of Curiosities shop.
Mm-hmm.
And she
didn't know it was him at first because, of course, she's blind.
Yeah, but she recognized his voice.
She recognized his voice and was very excited to see him.
Yeah.
Told him it had been too long, and she gave him a big hug. And
they are identical twins.
Yes.
By the way. So it's the same actress, but it makes sense to me why he would avoid her.
Yeah.
Because they literally were the spitting image of each other. She had white hair, and Danny had brown. But other than that, they were identical.
Yeah. And she said, it had been too long. And he said, I know. And he said, but we got him. He's dead. I got it. He gave her the
prosthetic eye.
Yes.
He thought, you could tell that he thought it was weird that she wanted it, but she wanted it really bad.
Yeah. She said she wanted to see what was going through his mind when he did that to her sister.
And Ted does not believe that she is clairvoyant or has powers or anything like that. He's very skeptical. I just realized both of these movies that we're talking about back to back, they both have clairvoyance in them.
Yeah.
Like long legs.
Yeah. So she has this bell though sitting on a table.
It's like a hotel service counter bell.
Yeah. That
you used to call the bellhops or whatever. And it's very cool looking. It's antique. She said that she just procured it. And she tells him the story behind the bell. And it has to do with basically a jaded hotel employee that ghosts can be summoned if you ring the bell.
Yeah. And he just kind of laughs it off.
And he was like, well, aren't you going to ring it? And she's like, no.
And she said the last 3 people who have owned it have died in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing it.
And she's kind of sassy with it, though. Like, she knows that he doesn't believe and knows that he's probably making fun of her, but she knows it's happening, and it's her brother-in-law, you know?
Yeah. And he invites her to come out to the house to visit him and
his new girlfriend.
So it's been a year. Not quite a year. The anniversary of her death is coming up. And so she mentions that, and they start talking about it. And he said, well, you know, we'll have to make plans for you to come out and visit us.
Yeah.
And she said, us?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, Yanni, my girlfriend.
Which... The house that they were building was Danny's dream house. Like, she was the one who was behind all of, like, the design choices, and she was the one who was working on it while he was at the hospital. Like, it was her baby.
Her home, yes, what she wanted.
And then he just moves in a girlfriend.
And the thing is, she was violently murdered there.
Yeah.
Violently murdered. And he just moves in his girlfriend. Now, first and foremost, if I'm the girlfriend, I am not moving into where my new boyfriend's wife was violently murdered. And second of all, I would hope that my husband would sell that house and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's a I mean, you walk through the front door, that's what you see. I mean, that's what I would see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she finds out about this new girlfriend, and you can tell she's a little taken aback.
Yeah, she's not impressed, and because even I can't remember if it's she talks to Yana about it because she finds the timing of everything very odd because Yana is a pharmaceutical representative, so they met at work.
Yeah, and he admits that. He's like, oh, we met at work. We were just friends. But she was there for me when Danny died. So then...
Couple days go by, and Darcy just shows up at the house with a bag and a box. And she's like, I'm here to visit. And he's on his way out.
And she was, too, because she didn't want to be left alone in the house that...
Yeah, she talks...
ex-wife, or his dead wife, was murdered in.
She said that it's creepy and she doesn't like being there by herself.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be getting off of nights so he could be there with her. And
yep.
So they were kind of arguing when
the knock came.
Yeah.
And she can't drive, obviously. She's blind. So she had to take a taxi there and she got dropped off. And then all of a sudden, like, she's just, like, she can't drive home.
Yeah.
And he's going to work, so he can't take her, and Yana fucking immediately hates her.
And right before she got there, too, the girlfriend, what's her name, Yanni?
Yana.
Yana says that they received a package.
That's right.
And it's this big wooden box.
And it has this creepy fucking life-size wooden mannequin.
It is so creepy. Oh, he is so creepy.
And when Darcy shows up, she's like, oh, yeah, it's a gift for you guys. Like,
yeah, I'm so glad it arrived.
Yeah, she's like, oh, yeah, my grandmother passed it on to my mother, and my mother passed it on to me, and, I just figured I'd give it to you guys.
Yeah, and brother-in-law there, Dr. Ted Timmis, he's mad that she's there. Mm-hmm. And Yana's mad because she said, well, I didn't realize you were coming. No one told me. And he said, well, I didn't know. And she said, but you invited me. Darcy's like, you invited me. And he said, oh.
She's totally, like, she's ignoring every social cue that they are trying to politely lay down. And it gets less polite as time goes on. And she still is just like, well, you invited me, so I'm here.
Yeah.
And it kind of is implied that the reason she's there is because of her sister's murder. Now, I thought based on how the movie was going and stuff, I thought that she was just going to go to the house to try and talk to her sister's spirit.
That's 100% what I thought, too. She was going to try to conjure her spirit to find out what happened, to, see what was going on with her, if she was okay.
But she brought the prosthetic eye with her. And you learn later on the real reason why Darcy came and why she brought the mannequin.
Yeah.
So Ted is like, she can't be in this house by herself. And Yana was like, I seriously have to stay. Like, she's so mad. And she didn't, Darcy asked her to make her dinner.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm kind of famished. I would really appreciate some food. And so Yana puts together, like, a charcuterie board. And she's like, yeah, we don't really have a lot of food here. We were planning
Going to the city.
Yeah, we were planning on leaving. And then she gets mad because Darcy is, like, feeling all of the food and the crackers and stuff like that. Well, she's blind. She has to know what she's eating.
She's totally glaring at her like, ew, you're disgusting. And it's like, well... She has to feel her food. She doesn't know what it is or where it's at. So, yeah. It was very uncomfortable. The whole vibe was, yeah. You could tell that Darcy did not like Yana. And
Yana
didn't like Darcy.
The feeling was mutual for sure. Oh, and it wasn't... Yana never agreed to stay. She had to stay because she lost her car keys.
Yeah, her car keys disappeared. So
yeah.
She couldn't go. She was leaving and couldn't. So,
So she ends up going up to bed and she locks the door. And she's going through the camera, the dead wife's camera.
Yeah, that was creepy.
And watching old videos of Danny and Ted.
Yeah, her boyfriend or fiance or whatever he is.
I don't think they were engaged. But just a weird thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, as she's laying in their bed.
Yeah.
She's watching these videos. And she gets a jump scare, though, because the face of,
doesn't it tell her to leave?
Yes. Run.
Yeah. Yeah, it tells her to run. And she gets freaked out, and I think she's kind of, it's almost like she decides to search for her car keys again, even though they're, like, super missing again. Well, she looks down from the landing, and... Darcy had put the mannequin at the dining room table.
And this is a full-size, like, big man, like a husky man mannequin made out of wood.
Yeah.
And his hands are on the table. His arms are laying on the table. Oh,
yeah,
it's creepy.
She just had him sat at the dining room table. Very creepy. And so she expects to see it there, but it looked like it changed position. Like, it looked like it was looking up at her.
Yeah.
From where she was standing.
With its mouth gaping open.
Yeah. And so it scares her. She drops her phone. It shatters, like, on the lower floor. And so she's like, what the fuck? You know, she goes downstairs. She picks up all the pieces of her phone, puts it back together. And she realizes that there are, like, these weird holes.
In the head of the mannequin.
In the head of the mannequin. And she starts pulling stuff out. And
now, meanwhile, Darcy is just sound asleep. Which is weird. She's sitting up and she's on the couch, sound asleep.
Oh, yeah.
She's just out of it.
Decides to take a nap.
Yeah.
And so Yana's being kind of sneaky about it while she extracts the shit in the mannequin head. And it's a bunch of strange objects. Like, there's photographs of Danny and Darcy, locks of hair, a tooth, and a whole ass vial of blood. And she totally panics, and Danny, after she sees Danny's ghost, that's when Darcy wakes up and tells her to put everything back. Like, she's furious.
Like, angry. And how does she know? Because she was across the room when she caught her.
She's psychic, bitch.
And she's like, okay. So she puts it all back and she goes back to bed.
No, because she's officially done when she finds the blood
left?
and stuff. Yeah, and she ends up finding her keys in the box that the mannequin came in.
Yeah, because again, she was asleep. Darcy fell asleep again at some point, and that's when she found the keys. And she was out. Yeah. Because it told her to run.
Yeah.
Run!
Yeah, she fucked off. Yeah. She was ready to leave. After that, Ted actually returns to the house. He finds Darcy upstairs, and Darcy reveals to Ted that she knows he was the responsible party. He was the one who killed.
Oh, because Yanni calls and says that she had told her that the person that killed Danny worked with Ted, remember?
Yeah.
And she actually named who it was.
And it was an orderly.
It was an orderly.
And you when you're first introduced to Olin's character, like before he gets bludgeoned to death, after he gets reinstituted, you come across this orderly, and he's a very just nasty person.
Horribly mean.
Yeah. But it's, at some point in the movie, when Darcy's, at the house with Yana, Ted and the orderly play chess together. And it's like they're not friends. Ted does not like the orderly. No. But there's a familiarity.
Yeah.
Beyond just what you would find with coworkers. Yeah. And especially with Ted, who seems like a nice person, at least at first. And then he's just hanging out with this awful orderly person. Like, I was pretty much, pretty early on in the movie, I'm like, her husband killed her.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the orderly helped. I was like, I was playing Clue. I was like, the hammer in the tent.
As soon as you see the orderly and you see him talk to Olin the way he did, he was threatening him if he didn't stay in his bed, all these things that he'd do to him. So he was very violent towards him.
Yeah.
And as soon as you saw that, you were like, oh, this has something to do with this. But yeah, Yana had called and she said, I'm leaving. And this is what she said. Do you know this person? And on and on.
Yeah, because Darcy straight up told Yana, she's like, the orderly killed
my sister.
Yeah. And Yana was a smart bitch. I mean, she was unpleasant. Mm-hmm. But she was smart. She got the fuck out. She broke up with him. Like, not at that point, but she's like, I'm leaving this creepy house. Like, fuck you. I'm
out.
Yeah, I don't
stand.
Like, we can talk later.
It shows them playing chess, and then it starts showing flashbacks where Ted planned the murder with the orderly. Told him where she was going to be. Told him what time she was going to be there. And they decided to set up Olin because they figured...
Like, he was getting out.
So no one would ever question it. They would just think if it came back that it would be him.
Yeah, and the timing was perfect.
So they sent the orderly to the house. He sent the orderly to the house to kill his sister, too. Before Ted went, remember? He sent him. Didn't he send him first? No, he went first because he...
Yeah, he went first because he finds Darcy. She reveals that she knew that he was responsible for the murder.
That's right.
She admits to killing Olin because she was trying to avenge Danny. But upon getting his eye, she discovered that he was, in fact, totally innocent.
Yeah. So she felt super guilty because she was the one that slaughtered him.
Yeah.
Like, and when I say slaughtered, you have to see the movie to understand what I mean.
It was brutal. And I think it was as brutal as it was because that's how her sister got murdered.
Yeah. That's right. So then Ted tells Darcy that he's going to meet with the prosecutor or the investigator and bring him out to talk to her.
Yeah. Yep. And he leaves. She lets him leave. He returns to the hospital, calls his cell phone, and Darcy thinks about answering the phone for a really long time, and it almost seems like she's not going to. But then she goes to open it, but she's on the second floor where it's the only place in the house that has cell phone service. That's where the trapdoor is, and he had opened it before he left. And so she falls through the open trapdoor and really injures herself.
You think she's dead?
Yeah. And at that point, Ted tells the orderly to go to the house and ensure that she's dead.
And his name is Ivan.
Yeah, fucking Ivan.
Because
he's just the worst. Because when Ted enlisted his help originally, Ivan was like, what if I get excited and some sexual things happen to the body? And Ted was like, no.
Yeah.
He wanted her to be killed cleanly, too. He didn't want her to suffer or anything like that. Obviously, that didn't really pan out.
Obviously, fuck him.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
Because
that made me so angry. He's like, no, I don't want it that way. I want it to be quick. You can't sexually assault her. I just want it to be clean and done. Like, he was doing her a favor.
Yeah. And he even said, like, because it's revealed that he was with the fucking pharmaceutical tech before.
Yeah.
He was cheating on.
Yeah.
He was cheating on her.
So, obviously, the way to get rid of her was...
to kill her because, and he said she would never get over him. Like, if he, like, divorced her, she would never get
She'll never get over me, and all of my money sunk into that house. I would never get it, so this is the only way.
Yep. Which, fucking, oh, it made me so angry. Like, what kind of ego do you have to have? Oh, she would never be able to move on. Go fuck yourself.
He was a piece of shit.
Ivan gets there. And he starts to be stalked and fucking totally beat the shit by the fucking wooden mannequin, which seems to be under Darcy's control. Like, she's dying. Like, she's coughing up blood and stuff, but she seems to be controlling it. And she's chasing him around the house, and it's scary. Yeah.
And she did, at one point when she was talking to Ted, too, before she fell, she had said to him that Danny was more grounded than she ever was.
Yeah.
And that Danny chose to warn Yana because she didn't blame her.
Yeah.
So it was Danny's scary ghost that scared Yana away.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why she was protecting her from her sister. Because her sister planned to kill her, too.
Yeah. And I do...
And I kind of think that shows that Danny's character was awesome because, you know, we are, as women usually do, who do we blame? We blame the other woman. We don't take a look at the man in our lives that totally just screwed us over. We're going to blame the woman.
I mean, we talked about this before. It's
yeah.
Like, if you cheat on your significant other, you're a piece of shit. But if you get with someone who has a significant other and you know that they're cheating on that significant other, you're also a piece of shit. Yana was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because she was with a man who was married. She got with a man who was married. But she had absolutely nothing to do with the murder. Her crime was...
adultery.
Adultery, yeah. She was just a piece of shit. Like, but an average piece of shit, right? She didn't fucking plan a goddamn murder. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think a lot of times, too, we tend to blame the woman because, she's a homewrecker. But we also have to know that there's two sides to the story. And not that it's ever right to cheat with somebody, but we don't know what she was told about Danny. We don't know what he said.
It's true.
He could have said, we're over. We're just sharing this house till we can get out of it. Men and women lie. Women have affairs all the time, too. Sure. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But we tend to blame the person that our significant others have an affair with rather than our significant others, which I think is really dumb. There are significant others. They're cheating on us. That's who I should be mad at to begin with.
Yeah, but I think just, it's your person. And you don't want to totally put 100% of the blame on them because you still love them.
Yeah.
Even though they've really betrayed and hurt you.
Yeah. So but Danny's ghost, good job.
So, Ivan actually survives the attack. Darcy dies before she can actually kill him with the mannequin. He gets taken to the psych ward.
And they lock him up.
Irony.
Chain him to the bed.
Yeah, it's because he says he was, a giant wooden mannequin tried to kill him. And that's an objectively crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
And Ted is still the overseeing doctor there, so Ivan is under his care.
Yeah, he don't want Ivan to say anything more.
So to ensure that Ivan doesn't confess to murdering Danny, Ted sets free another person in the psychiatric hospital who's like a cannibal. He fucking eats this dude's face off.
But he climbs up the foot of the bed and starts eating his toes.
Yeah.
Oh.
He broke his leg, and so he wasn't able to... It was a really horrendous break, and he wasn't able to... And he was strapped into the bed, so he wasn't able to get away while this man just started eating his toes. Which, I don't know why you would start with the toes. I don't know why you'd eat people in general, but the toes? Why would you start there? Would you start there?
toes freak me out, so no.
And one thing that before Darcy, everything goes down with Darcy and Darcy dies, she tells Ted, she's like, I'm going to ruin you. Your career will be over. Your relationship will be over. You will have no money. This house will not be yours. Everything will be ruined for you. Like, I guess a little bit of time passes because Ted returns to the house where he lives alone because it's revealed that Yana broke off their relationship because he was so nonchalant about the fact that his wife and his sister-in-law were brutally murdered in his house. Like, he was just like, eh. And she's like, you know what? Actually, you're a fucking psycho. And he finds on the doorstep, he finds a little box that was delivered. And the return address is the Oddities shop that Darcy owned. Mm-hmm. And he opens it to find the call bell. He just kind of stares at it. He takes it inside. He sits at the dining room table and he stares at it. And he kind of scoffs, like he laughs.
He's such a piece of crap.
Yeah, he's such a fucking dick. And he just decides to ring it. And when there's no indication, like he looks around and there's no ghost, he's like, yeah,
So he starts like smirking and
fucking thought so. But then the spirit appears behind him.
creepy bellman.
It's very creepy. That's when the movie ends.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a really good movie. I actually enjoyed this movie more than Longlegs because I think I had watched them both on the same day, didn't I?
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
It was very eerie. I liked how small the set was because you pretty much spend the whole time in this house. I mean, it's a big house. I don't want to say, but yeah. For a movie, it's a small set.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the acting was really good. I don't think that it was immediately obvious that her husband was behind it.
No, I don't think so
I think they did a good job kind of keeping that under wraps. Mm-hmm. I'm just annoyingly good at guessing movie plots sometimes because I was like, it was really early on in the movie and I'm like, her husband did it and the orderly was involved somehow. I'm calling it right now. And Becky kept the most straight face ever. She gave nothing away.
I knew when I watched it the first time because I had watched it by myself. But when I watched it the first time, I knew... Oh, I so knew that it was him. He had to be involved because when he said he had a girlfriend and they were living in the house, I was like, oh, you piece of crap.
I thought maybe he was, most people would just be like, oh, he's a dick. They wouldn't immediately jump to the fact
I don't normally feel that way. I know a lot of people have lost spouses. Not in quite that violent of a way, obviously. But they've moved on quickly, especially men. I have had 2 in my family that their wives of many, 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 many years died, and they were with someone within 4 months.
I don't think men are good at being alone.
They're not. So, and I have...
Once they're used to having constant companionship.
So, yeah, that didn't bother me as much as just when he said that they worked together. I was like, oh... Yep.
Yeah,
it was kind of a red flag.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But then I thought, well, maybe not. Maybe he really did kill her, but I didn't think that Olin killed her. I just didn't.
Yeah, I really think... Yeah, because, part of the reason why Darcy wanted, I think, so badly come to the house and she wanted the prosthetic eye and all that shit was because everyone was operating on the fact that they thought that Dani had opened the door for Olin. And she was like, my sister would never have opened the door for a stranger. That's fucking bullshit. Yeah. She's like, there's got to be more to the story. And later on in the movie, not when she first gets killed, but later on in the movie, it's revealed that she never did open the door for Olin. She never did. No. He left to go get the police. Help,
yeah. And that's why they blamed him, because he's the one that went and said,
all this lady's in danger. Well, he wasn't a credible source, which it makes me really sad. It's ultimately very tragic because he was in there. Olin was in there for killing his mom. And she was incredibly, like, abusive to him.
Yeah, she's the reason he had a prosthetic eye. And they said, if I was going to lose my other eye, I would fight and kill as well to protect it. Mm-hmm. And that's what he was doing. That's why he killed his mom.
Because she was going to take the other eye. And I really felt a lot of pity for him.
Yeah.
And I was ultimately glad that they had put him in a psych ward versus, like, prison. Because at least he had the help he needed. He had therapy. And he was ultimately released. And that's what makes it so much more
he was
tragic.
just trying to help her because he really did hear Ted and Ivan talking through the air vent.
The vent, yep.
And they were talking about how they were going to kill her.
Yeah.
So he really knew what was happening. And so when he said the voices in the wall, it really was the voices in the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I think he knew that Danny would not believe him if he told her, like, yeah, I heard your husband and an orderly talking about killing you. Yeah. So he took the ultimately more vague route of just saying that he overheard, and it just came out making him sound kind of crazy.
Yeah. So that part was super sad.
Yeah.
But in the end, Ted got his yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Just singing and doing a little dance.
I am.
We love vengeance on the Becks. We love that. We love that shit. So good. So, yeah, it's an excellent movie. Yep. Definitely check it out. I never saw any trailers. I haven't seen anybody talk about this movie.
I didn't either.
I think it's kind of flying under the radar because it seems like it's kind of more of an indie movie, but it's definitely super eerie, super fun. It is a really fun movie.
It is. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Yep. I was pretty excited about that one.
And I also want to talk about our own little adventure into an Oddities place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. Mythos.
When we were in Pontiac doing the tour for Erebus, we actually saw, like, it was like within the same block, there was an Oddities museum that had, like, just opened. Like, they still had their grand opening signs out. Like, we're talking, like, freshly opened.
Yeah.
And we had some time to kill before we actually were going to go on the full tour inside Erebus. So we decided to go over there, and we bought tickets.
It's Mythos Museum of Oddities and Curiosities.
Yes. And it's a decent-sized museum. They're still working on their inventory, I guess isn't really the right term. They still are waiting for some pieces to come in and some literature to accompany the pieces and stuff.
Yeah, they were literally only open like a week, right?
Yeah, or like a couple of days maybe.
Yeah. We
were some of the first people to go see. They had done an opening, but it was like a soft opening. So it wasn't like they had a huge like announcement. It wasn't like packed out the door or anything like that. They just wanted a soft opening. So they were a couple days out from that. And they had a member of the staff whose name was Bobby. Bobby was so funny. He was super great. He did a super good job. He knows so much about all of the artifacts and stuff that they have in there.
Super excited to show you around. So that was really cool.
Yeah, he had such good energy. He was so fun to talk to. He, like I said, he knows so much about everything in there. You could ask him about any artifact in there and he would be able to talk your ear off about it. Which is great because that's why you go to Oddities museums, right? You go to learn about, like, not only do they look weird or they're really old or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the criteria for curios and oddities is, right? You go for that, but also you go to learn about it. So they have a really knowledgeable staff that will tell you about everything that they have in there. They have dinosaur bones. They have fossils. They have old books. They have
vintage funeral and mortuary items, which are kind of really creepy.
Oh, yeah. Like they had these... these old embalming...
Jars
that were stained.
Oh, it was... yeah, that was creepy. They have some caskets, too, that had stains in them. Yeah. Which I'm sure you can understand what that is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, things like that. The weirdest thing that we saw that they showed us, because we asked if they thought anything in the museum was haunted, cursed, anything like that. They have a shrunken head, but it's not a real shrunken head.
Yeah.
And it apparently... It's so creepy.
They said they started to, when they had first gotten in for their collection, they realized, because it's behind glass, they realized that the glass was foggy. And it's not always foggy. Just sometimes.
It's almost like it steams up.
And it literally looks like breath. And while we were there, we looked at it, and in front of this fucking thing, the glass was foggy, like someone was breathing on it. It was chilling. Like, I was so creeped out.
Yeah. It was, Nope.
Oh, yeah, it was so creepy. They also had a typewriter owned by Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
They were waiting for the authentication plaque thing to come in for that. Yeah. Which was why I don't think he mentioned it to you. It was just when
you were talking to him about the books and stuff.
Yeah, because I'm a big book nerd, so I was like, are any of these books cursed? And I really wanted to look at some of them because some of them were very old, but the person who handles the books wasn't there. They said that they had actually planned on him doing different things. He can touch the books and handle them and stuff like that, but they don't let Joe Schmoes do it. So obviously they weren't letting me touch any of the books. They also have some different like vintage Halloween masks and stuff.
Yeah, they have hundreds. There's so many.
They were some of them were so creepy and so cool.
You walk in this room and it's nothing but masks, like wall to wall, floor to ceiling.
You definitely feel like you're being watched.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool ones, some really neat ones.
Like if you're a big fan of like vintage horror, vintage like Hollywood horror, you would really enjoy that section of the museum because it is really cool. Yeah. And they have like vintage records and stuff, kind of like when we talked about the Great Ghost Stories vinyl. They have some of those. They have some of those on display.
They have 1970s costumes with the plastic mask, and pretty much I can tell you from experience the plastic outfit that went with it. They have so much. There's so much there. We spent maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was close to 2 hours in there.
We didn't see everything. Yeah. I mean, we really didn't. They have a whole huge collection of die-cast cars that are old, and there's a lot there.
Yeah, the one of the people that were interested, that was kind of put the money behind creating this museum. He was really into vintage cars and stuff like that. So, which, I mean, it's Pontiac, so
it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it was a huge part of the auto industry. So I thought it was kind of neat that they had a section set aside for that.
We weren't allowed to take pictures, obviously.
Most museum oddities places don't allow you to do that.
Yeah, you don't do pictures or video. We did do some audio so we could remember what to talk about. So there were some cool things there. Lots of different kinds of animal skulls, and most were reproductions, he said.
Well, that's the case for any museum, just because of the sheer cost of loss.
But there were so many there. I was really impressed with their collection of different things.
Yeah, like ancient bears and mountain lions and sloths and dinosaurs. Yeah. Which I'll never stop geeking out about dinosaur fossils. It's fucking cool. They have Utah raptor claw there, and I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, that was super cool. That was really cool.
I'll never not be impressed by dinosaur bones. Like, it's just, if you want to impress me, just like, you could just show me a picture on your phone. I'd be like, fuck yeah, dinosaurs. So it was so cool to see it, though. And it's cool because, again, it's with the Erebus people trying so hard to breathe life again into the Pontiac area. And then you also have this cool Oddities Museum, which is right there. So if you're in the area and you're planning to go to Erebus, definitely go to the Oddities place. Or if horror attractions aren't your thing, you don't want to be scared. Yeah, if you don't want to go to
Erebus, definitely check out Mythos Museum, because it's It's one of the coolest ones I've seen. Not
Yeah.
that I've been to a lot, but we did go to a couple weird places in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And this one is big, and they're just starting out. They've been working on it for years and years, trying to get enough collected that they could do this. And the people there are super welcoming, super friendly. They're happy to have you there, and they're happy to answer any question you have.
They're planning on doing, like, themed nights out and stuff like
Yeah.
that, too. So, I think they were talking about they wanted to do, like, a seance one day. And then they have, like, different groups that they have come in and do, like, group activities and things like that. So, they're constantly expanding their collection, obviously. Like, there's so much room for them to grow, which is super exciting. And I will be watching their career with interest.
Yes, me too. And you can check them out at Mythos Museum. It's MYTHOS museum.com. And they have ticket prices. You can take a look at that. They have a gallery. You can contact them. Gives you directions to their location. Which, yeah, definitely very cool. We really just stumbled upon them, and they were very welcoming when we went in, and it was really cool.
Yeah. And I look forward to returning, because I know that they're just gonna get bigger from here and get more cool things. And, there's so much cool stuff that, like, we haven't even talked about,
And they did invite us back. Shout out to them. They did invite us back to do, hopefully, maybe at some point, an actual episode right there so we can talk to...
The owners did invite us back to do potentially a podcast episode there. We told them, like, it's hard because we do live quite the distance away from Pontiac. It's not just like we have to plan an entire day around it. So, but keeping that invitation in mind, it was so wonderful of them to invite us to do that. And we do potentially want to do that in the future for sure.
Yes, definitely. And we want you to go visit them. Get the word out about them. Tell your friends about them. Everybody go. Because, yeah, they're new. They're up and coming. General admission is $20 a ticket.
Yep.
And, you
can spend a long time in there.
You can.
It's huge. There's so much to look at.
It would probably be a super awesome group event. Get a bunch of your friends together and go do a day or a night at the Oddity
They did say they're planning on opening up a section for, like, a gift shop.
Yes, that would be super exciting.
Because I love gift shops almost as much as I love the museums that host them.
And I did read on their website that they are hoping to do workshops that will incorporate some hands-on activities.
That's right. I am excited for what kind of ideas they're coming up with for the workshop. These types of places, these museums and curios places, and they're kind of the backbone of the weird part of society, right? Like, it's a really it just gives us an interesting look into how weird things have always been. Like, all of the embalming tools and shit that they have there. And some of that stuff is still used today. I mean, it's updated a little bit, but embalming as a process hasn't changed all that much.
That stuff's so creepy. The whole embalming thing creeped me out. The stains. They even had an embalming tray that had stains on it.
Like, rusty stains.
Yeah.
Like red stains.
Yes. And he definitely told us it's definitely bodily fluids.
Yeah.
So, ew.
They said that, because I asked too, because they have, like, the bottles that used to have all of these really dangerous chemicals in them for, like, the embalming process, right? And I'm like, do you guys have to go through, like, did you have to get licensed to handle this stuff? And he's like, oh yeah, and we have to go through all these different safety classes and stuff like that. He's like, all of this stuff that exists in this museum, we have to have... Like, we had to jump through so many legal hoops to get. Yeah. They have, like, this really cool opium pipe that's made out of an elephant tusk. So it's ivory. And because of the ivory trade and stuff like that, they really were scrutinized like crazy. And it took them years to get this opium pipe. Because it's not like they wanted it for display, right? But because it was ivory and because of the ivory trade is so horrendous and illegal.
Yeah.
They really had to fucking suck the government's dick to get this.
Wow.
Well, Tell me I'm wrong. Like I can't even imagine how hard it is for them to get some of the stuff that they get here. So
all the licensing and stuff they need, permits and
So, if you love weird things, go out and support your local oddities museums.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're not so local oddities museums.
I'm just glad we found it. I'm glad we were able to experience it while we were down there because, we'd never heard of it. It just happened to open right when we went down there.
Yeah, it was...
and it was right on the same block, so we were able to check it out and meet some cool people. And
they are... The people who own and run it, they are so cool. Genuinely really cool, awesome people, super smart people.
Yeah.
And I look forward to, like I said, seeing this museum get super successful.
Me too.
They deserve it.
They do. Yep.
Well, I think that's it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed listening to our oddities. Our oddities episode.
Yeah.
Oddity, the movie. And, of course, Mythos Museum, the Oddity Museum in Pontiac, Michigan.
Yeah. Go. Enjoy it. Watch the movie. Go to the museum.
Tell us what you think of all those things.
Send us some ideas that you want to talk about or things you've seen that you thought we might be interested in. That would be cool too. Share. We need more people. We do have exciting news. We will be at the Curiosities and Oddities Festival at Crossroads Village.
Yes.
Next June 21st of 2025. Mark your calendars now.
We are going to be the noontime presenters.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
We're so excited. I'm blown away that we were invited to do this.
We have no idea who told them about us. We have some ideas.
We do. But yeah, we're super excited. So we are actually going to do a live presentation with an audience talking about how we got started in our podcast, what we like to do, things like that. So we have, 8 months? Why?
It's not even that far away.
But that's big. That's huge for us.
I'm like, I already have preemptive stage fright.
Me too.
Because it's one thing talking to my friend in an empty room and another thing to talk to a bunch of people.
Staring at us.
Just staring with their faces.
And then we have to answer questions.
Oh, no!
So, yeah, we're excited, though. We're super excited, and we're very, very grateful for the opportunity.
Yes, we are.
Hoping this is a step in the right direction. We're still enjoying it.
No,
we're almost a year out.
We're having fun.
A couple months, we'll be celebrating our year anniversary of doing our podcast. And
first episode ever was Krampus.
Crazy.
We'll have to do something thematically involved for our anniversary. And we got to figure out what we're doing for the month of October.
Yeah, because it's spooky month. It's also our birthday month.
Yep.
And definitely because we're both born in October. So,
yep.
Spoopy month.
Spoopy month. Spoopy
and
birthday month. So, today the pod, tomorrow the world. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks.